Okay, so hey Bookwormies, welcome back. This is another podcast video, again for Bookmas. We're still in Bookmas. So, as you guys know, I am a reader, a very seasoned and loved reader. I love to read, it's amazing. And in this video, I'm going to talk about bookish things that I do. Some of them are totally normal, some of them I known already, probably everybody knows this about me. Some of them probably you guys might not know. That stuff. Some of them are normal stuff, so it's totally normal for me. Okay, so bookish things I do. I book journal. Super easy. I annotate. Annotating is totally normal because many people do it, and it's not something bad because sometimes for people it helps, and for me sometimes it helps, and also it's a nice way to therapeutic and just to remember, oh my god, I read this book, I forgot about it. It's really nice. Second of all, buying more books than how much I can read. Do not judge me about this, guys, but yes, sometimes I have right now, you guys know my TBR cart, it has many, many, many books. I have not read all of them yet, obviously, since it's right there, but still. It happens. I buy many books, and then I start reading something on my Kindle, then I start reading something on my phone, and then I forget about it. Or I just don't like it, and it's just there. Next. This is something that happens to me many times, is that I plan, oh my god, I'm like, okay, so I'm going to finish this book, then I'm going to go to Shatter Me, then I'm going to go to this, then I'm going to do that. And then it doesn't happen. I just don't do it. Yes, that happens quite a lot of times. Do not judge me, guys, for this. It happens. I can't do anything about it. This is what happens. I can't do anything. This is kind of normal for me, but also at the same time, why do I do this to myself? Why do I plan it out and then then I don't do it? Why do I do this to myself? But it's okay. As well, I do this in books, and probably you guys might do it too sometimes. So, no shame, no game. Skip ahead in the book. So, let's say I'm in chapter 12, but then it's getting super boring. I go through a few pages, and I'm in chapter 13 somehow. It happens because it gets boring or something. I do not want to waste my time reading a chapter that I'm not going to even enjoy, and I'm not going to be really invested in it. Yes, sometimes then that means that things happen, and then I'm like, wait, what? What's this? Who is this? And then I have to go back to the chapter. Sometimes I need to do that, usually I don't, and usually I'm like, okay, whatever, it's fine, I don't care. Next, probably you guys might do this, you're reading a book, I don't have a book here right now, I'm reading a book, and then I just stop, I close the book, and I admire at the cover. I don't know why it happens to me, so many times, usually, of course, it only happens to me when I'm reading a physical book. If I'm reading a book on my Kindle, usually I don't do that. I don't go to the very cover just to see that. No, I'm just like, cool. But when I'm reading a physical book, I just admire the cover. I don't know why. I'm just it looks so beautiful. Except for when there's real people on the covers. Ugh, that's so, I hate it so much. Next, look at how many pages are left in the chapter. I do that sometimes, usually when I'm less invested in the book or I'm feeling less attached to it right now. I might just go and be okay, how many more pages? Or I'm just not enjoying that specific chapter. I might look at how much is left. Or just out of nowhere, I'm just let's check how much I have left. Oh, I have 4. Oh, I have 2. Just see it. Next, fall in love with fictional characters. Probably you guys have all this has happened to you guys probably minimum one time. And I honestly, it's okay, guys. I also, honestly, no shame, no game. These fictional characters, especially those boys, I cannot. The girls probably understand me. I fell in love with Peter Malark, the old guy, the one of the first 2 books. I fell in love. Who else? Percy Jackson. From the Percy Jackson, all the Rick Riordan series mostly. I fell in love with Keith Sanson from the KOTLC series by Shannon Messenger. I love it, Keith Sanson. I fell in love with many characters. Falling in love with them it's no shaming. I'm fine with it. Like, I honestly wish there were more people like those in real life, but people have their flaws, and I haven't met anybody like that yet, sadly. Next. This is something that happens, like, a lot. I cry when something sad happens. Like, I have cried in, I think it was the second book in the Shatter Me series. Yeah, Unravel Me. I cried so many times. Cried in so many books. But, like, this is something that happens so many times. When you're reading in public, you just cannot go cry there. People will be like, what happened? And I'm like, something sad happened in the book. People will stare at you and be like, what? Excuse me? Like, I'm sorry, but you cannot blame me that it's sad. Like, one of the books, I legitimately was about to cry, and so I had to stop reading because I knew that if I cried in front of a huge crowd of people, they're gonna be like judging me, and I do not need that. I'm good without the judging. So yeah. Next, go crazy over something that happened in the book. This is kind of with the other one. Having strong emotions, kicking your legs, giggling, all that other emotions except for sadness. That happens to me so many times. And sometimes I have so many strong emotions. Sometimes I'm like with zero emotion on my face. Sometimes I'm like crazy. Like, I usually go crazy. So yeah, that happens quite a lot. Next, look at fan art to know how the characters look like. I do that sometimes, usually when I finish a book, but sometimes if like it spans over a week or something, my reading of a book, then usually I look at fan art and I'm like, oh, this is how a character looks like. Because sometimes I imagine them to be so different, so it kind of helps sometimes for me to visualize them. So it's easier when I'm reading the book. But not always I do that. I only do that sometimes. And when there are good fan arts of it, when there are bad fan arts of it, I don't look at it. Okay, next. Do not judge me, guys, for this. I know I shouldn't do this, but I do this. I look at spoilers. Yes, I look at spoilers, guys. Tell the whole neighborhood I look at spoilers. Tell the whole world I look at spoilers. I do that sometimes. In the middle of a book. Usually it's when it's just to know about who the main character ends up with. Like the shipping. But that's most of the time. I usually don't look for what happened at the end with the plot. I usually just to know who the person ends up with. Yes, sometimes I know, but I just need to know who she ends up with so that I know whose side to be on. Whose side. So yeah, guys, do not judge me this. Alright, next thing. Probably you guys do this all the time too. I have no problem with it. No shame. Use anything as a bookmark. When I mean anything, I mean scissors sometimes. I've done that once. A ruler. I do that so many times just because I see a ruler and I'm just like, okay, let's just use this. Never another book. No. Just I ripped a piece of paper and put it in. Usually that's what I do. A calculator, I think I have. Many different random things I use as a bookmark. Just because, I don't know, where I don't have bookmarks everywhere just to see. I don't have that many that I can just go, okay. Usually I have a bookmark in hand. I usually keep a few because I don't like it. But many times I do not have a bookmark in hand, and that's kind of a problem. Yes, it's quite a big of a problem. Another thing is reading like a maniac. Crazy reading. I'm just relaxed, but then I'm reading like a maniac, super quickly, or going crazy over it. That happens many times, and don't judge me for it. You can judge me for it, but I'm not gonna stop. Okay, this probably am the only person here. Maybe you guys feel the same, but you don't have that strong emotions over it. And that is when a book comes from the mail, or you just had it in your backpack, and then later on it's kind of even like has any bruises, any small bumps, any rippages or anything, I'm just like, I legitimately sometimes I cry over it. I go crazy because I cannot deal with it because it's a beautiful cover, or it's even my favorite book, and I'm so excited to read it, and it's bruised. It comes in and it's broken. Sometimes I'm in the middle of reading a book and it's in my backpack, and then when I take it out, I'm just like, and then I see there's a rippage. Or I lend it to someone and then it comes back. Like, I know, usually it's not big, but usually it's a bit, and I'm like, I cannot be mad at my friend for this, but I want to. I don't want to, but I can. I don't want to, but I am. Not my problem. Next, talk to legitimately everyone about the book. This usually only is if I'm really, really loving the book. Like, I see the book and I'm like, that thing over there, that book over there is my favorite. It's my favorite. Then I go crazy and tell everybody usually. Like, I usually tell minimum 2 people over that book. Sometimes I tell my dog. Yes, I have a dog, guys. Sometimes I tell my mom. Usually I don't tell my dad, but usually to my mom. Sometimes I tell my brother if he's around, and I'm just like, this book is amazing, and I talk everything about it. And if they don't care about spoilers, I tell them the whole plot. Once a friend of mine asked, "What are you reading?" So I was like, I was like, "Are you gonna read it?" And she's like, "No." I'm like, "Okay, so can I tell you the whole plot?" She's like, "Sure." I tell her the whole plot, and I'm like, I love this book so much. Like, I go crazy over it and tell everything. Okay, guys, maybe you guys do this too. I do it. No shame. It is hugging the book when I finish it. Like, kind of like you finish a really good book, and you just see everybody there just like going on with their life, and you just feel like, how can I go on with my life after this amazing book finished? This happened to me actually when I finished the Prison Yard trilogy. So I finished like the first book, and then I ran off to read the second book. I finished the second book, ran off to read the third book. After I finished the third book, I was like running off to see if there's a fourth book, because at that moment it was kind of like the night. I finished the book and I'm like, okay, let's go for the fourth. There is no fourth. And then I just stare at this. I hug the book, so off my Kindle because I was reading it on Kindle. Just stare into space. I'm like, what did I do to deserve this? Why is this book so good? Why can I just not move on? I can't. It's just too hard. And guys, this is really just, this happens to me many times. It's really just, like, usually when it's a good book. Like, when it's a bad book, I'm just like, fling it away. You can go to the trash can over there. I don't care. Just get it out of my face. I don't know. Like, when I don't like a book, but like, if I'm okay with, like, if I like the book, but it's not my favorite, like, it's not a 5 or a 6-star amazing read, sometimes I might hug it if I really liked it. Usually I'm just like, nice book. Put it, next book. That kind of idea. Another thing that I do quite a lot, guys. So, as I said, admire the cover whilst I'm reading. I admire the covers on the internet, too. Because sometimes there are different editions. Like, Curse for True Love, they're like the UK, the US edition. Like, there's a UK and the US edition. Sometimes there are, like, other special editions. Sometimes I look at special editions. Like, for books I really, really love, I sometimes look for special editions of them. And I just admire it. I know probably I'm not going to buy it because it's too expensive. It's way too much expensive for me. But I just admire it. I'm like, one day you're going to be mine. Maybe. Like, probably later on I'll forget about it and not get the special edition. But usually I just look on the internet. Like, I just go onto the internet. Let me just, like, search up the Prison Healer. It's in my mind right now, guys, so don't judge me. So, like, I just look at these cute covers and I'm just like, that is amazing. I need this in my life. One day it will be with me. Oh my god, like this is technically the original one, but there's one that's like purple color. Honestly, there are many things, but like special editions are just so dang beautiful. I cannot express my love for special editions. Monday I will get a special edition, but for now I don't have a single special edition of any books that I love. Yes, that's true, guys. No special editions yet. But one day I'll have some. But until that day, we are just gonna relax. And just know that one day I will. But until that day, we have time. Okay, next. You know, like in Goodreads, there's that thing that's want to read, like the TBR, to be read things. I put so many books there, but honestly, most of them I'm probably never going to read. If you guys don't know, my Goodreads is right now at 91 books I want to read, I think. Or 92, like somewhere in the 90s. It's very big. And just to think, I think it was 2 or 3 months ago, I made a video about showing my whole TBR. And I think it was like 60 or 70 books at that point. Now it's 90 something, 91 or 92. One day it's gonna be like 200. What am I gonna do then? Am I gonna make another video about talking about 200 books? I'm gonna have to make 3 parts, not 2 parts, 3, maybe even 4. Like, it's a lot. Like, I put so many books in my TBR thinking, oh, I want to read that. Oh, I want to read that. I'll probably read it next week or something like that. And then I never read it. Like, I read most of the books, but usually the ones that I've just put on. Not the ones at the very start. Never. Never have. Not yet. But one day I will. One day I will. Then, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that does this, but like, you know, like when you're watching somebody talk, like on a YouTube video or something, talking about a book, and you've read the book yourself, so you know, and let's say, and then they're like, maybe the person in the video is like, oh yeah, this book was rubbish, it's had so poor taste, the romance was horrible, the plot itself just was so bad, and then you just nod along and you're like you're actually there in a conversation, like it's you and your best friend talking, just like, yeah, I didn't really like this book, oh, I love it, like you just nod along, like, yeah, nice. Like, I do that all the time for some reason. I do not know why. I just feel like I'm part of it, so I start talking. This is not really reading type things that I do, but it's bookish things I do still. So, you know, this is the next thing. You know, guys, when somebody just, you're watching a video or something, or you're talking to somebody, and then they talk about, and they say, like, I love the prison hero, you guys know, probably, and then they're like, oh yeah, the prison hero is so bad. And you love the book. You yourself loved it, but your friend over there, or whoever it is, says, oh, it's so bad. You just get mad at them, and you're like, you listen closely here. Like, it's not my fault. It's not their fault that I don't like my life. Listen, you over here, you did not just insult my favorite book. So you right now are going to shut up and you're going to listen, because this book is the best book ever. I don't know what book you read. Maybe it was a different one. But this book that I'm talking about is the best. Like, I know people have different opinions and stuff like that. But I don't really love it when people are like, oh, the book is so bad. Like, okay. But don't talk to me about it then. Like, I just don't love it. I don't like it when people say that the book is bad, and I don't agree. I know there's not their fault. Different people have different opinions, but still. You just get mad. This thing happens to me so many times. Like, mostly it happened to me with The Curse of True Love when I was making this theory talk, but also it happens when I'm just like a month or 2 after I finished a book, and then I see stuff about it and stuff. You just start just tearing up, and you're like, I love this book so much. I wish I could read it again without knowing it was gonna happen. Like, I wish I could reread it for the first time again. for the first time, like without knowing, oh yeah, that character is gonna die, those are gonna go together. Like just not knowing anything, just going into blank mind like you did the first time you read it. Like I just start tearing up and I'm like, I love that book. That's me. Alright, next. Have a book in hand at every occasion. I'm probably not the only one. Probably there are other people around here. But I have this thing. So let's say I'm reading one book on my, I'm reading a physical book. Or on my Kindle, I'm reading one. So I'm just like reading. I have to have a book in every occasion. I have one on my computer, like in books. And on my phone too, in books. But it's usually a different book. So usually, it could say on my Goodreads that I'm reading 2 or 3 books at the same time. Because I also have an audiobook for different occasions. I have many different things. So I have like the book that I'm focusing on when I have time, like in the specific times. Then there's like emergency book, like on my computer and my phone if I don't have a Kindle or my physical book. And then I have my audiobook, which is a specific book that I'm only gonna listen to. And I usually do it when I'm crocheting or I'm doing chores or whatever. So then I just have something to listen to and I can get through a book at the same time. So I have that. I have a book in every occasion. I have it in an audiobook, I have it in physical form, and I have it not in physical form. But so there's many different ways. So like if I am outside, I'm in dinner, but then it gets boring or I need to do some, or I'm walking around, or I don't know what. I have a book in my phone that I can read so that I don't get bored. Next, this, I'm probably not the only one that does this either. Treat the books like my babies. Like, they're the most precious thing in my life. Like, there's nothing more precious than it. Like, there is, of course, my family and my friends. Well, family mostly. But the books, they feel to me so special, so into the heart that I have to treat them. Make sure that they're fine. Make sure that they're cared for. Make sure that everything's okay with them. So I treat them like my little babies. Okay, next thing. I think I've said it like one of the first things, but annotating. Sometimes. I sometimes do it. Not always, but I sometimes annotate. But I don't really do it much. I usually do it like for specific series or specific books that I want to. Like right now I'm annotating The Cruel Prince. I'm reading it for the first time. And also I'm planning on annotating every single book of the Shatter Me series. And then other times when I just feel like I think I'm going to want to annotate this book, then I do it. Next. Some people might feel this way. Some people are not really scared of this, so they're okay with it. But I'm scared. This is something I'm scared about. I'm scared to write anything with a pen that's permanent. Like just a normal pen like this one. I don't write with it inside my book because I'm scared. Like, what if I write something stupid in there? Or what if I want to change it? I can't do anything. It's a permanent pen. Permanent. So that's why right now I'm technically using a mechanical pencil. But before I was using a erasable pen. But it's kind of less comfortable to use sometimes because the ink doesn't flow as well. So I just use it now. I'm using a mechanical pencil. But because, like, you don't want to really write with a permanent marker sometimes, I'm just scared to do it because you never know. Like, you want to lend it to someone, or let's say you want to sell it. If it's like a pencil or something, you can just erase whatever you wrote, take out the tabs, and whatever, you're done. But then if you're a permanent marker, what are you going to do? Put T-Pix all over it? With this T-Pix, it's just going to be all white. It's just not going to look good. So that's why, no. This thing, I do it so much. So, like when you want to reorganize your shelves, though you do like how it looks, but you still want to reorganize it because you want to give yourself a fresh start, or you see videos of people like reorganizing the bookshelves and you're like, I want to do that too. So you take them all out, you put them in pots and everything, then you put them back, and you find out it's the exact same way as before. Like you have a before and an after, and it looks the exact same way. Like, what are the odds? And then you're just like stuck there and you're like, I just did the exact same thing. I left it the exact same way. Why did I waste my time? I don't know. But I wanted to do it. I did it. And it's the exact same. So, yeah. Alright, the next part. I'm pretty sure some people do this, but I have an even worse addiction than that. But that's rereading the same book. But I don't reread once. I reread. Like, I do it 20 times. Like, the Keeper of the Lost City series, I have it on my phone, and I used to do this for the emergency books, but now I don't because I found out it's a bit time-consuming, and it's easier to read a different book. But, like, I had the whole Keeper of the Lost City series on my phone, like, downloaded everything. I reread it like 20 times. I already know what the next character was going to say. I knew what the next plot was going to be, and I still reread it like 20 times, and I still loved it. Like, I reread the same book. Like, I read every book, and I know exactly what's going to happen in every single one. Exactly. You could ask me, who's that person? I can tell you the whole thing, everything I know about them. Everything. Alright, this guys you probably do too. Sorry, I'm saying like almost everything you guys do too, probably, but it is kind of true. They're not really, like, everything, the bookish things that I do, they're kind of normal stuff. Like, other people mostly usually do it, so I'm okay with it. And also, anyways, it's fine. Okay, so starting a new series when I'm in the middle of another one. So, guys, I'm reading the Shadow Me series. I've started at minimum like 20 different other series whilst reading the Shadow Me series. So I have like 20 different series I'm in the middle of. And this is why I'm thinking of doing this. And you guys tell me if you want to see this. I'm thinking of doing a video talking reading, like trying to finish a few series that I'm in the middle of to help me a bit lower down how many series I need to finish, because they're quite a lot. Okay, next. Reading a few books at the same time. And this is not exactly like guys, as I said, that I need a book on every occasion. So I have one audio book, that's a book dedicated just I'm gonna listen to it. Then there's a book on my phone for if I'm outside of my home and I don't have my Kindle or my physical book, and then the physical books or Kindle that I'm reading, just like then. So then in Goodreads I usually have 3 books usually there. 3, yes. So it's quite a lot, but what can I do? It's what happens. So I have like many books at the same time. Or sometimes I just DNF it, but I don't count it as a DNF because right after I finish another book, I'm going to come back to it. There's also that. Okay. This I've already told you guys, but I'm still going to say it because it's the last thing. And that is having one specific book as the audio book. One, like, as I said before, like I have one book that's dedicated that I'm only going to listen to. So then, in every occasion, because, like, I don't want to every time have to go back and just, it's uncomfortable. I'd just rather have one book that's going to be my audiobook, and the next one, like, just take another one. And this is, guys, the end of today's podcast. This crazy podcast of, like, over 20, probably, bookish things that I do. And it's not my problem that I do it, but I do it. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's videos, and tell me if you guys also do some of these stuff, because I'd also like to know any other people that feel the same way and do the same things as me. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!
Alright.